for the past many years, science has been searching a single theory which can explain everything, which is also known as the theory of everything, the TOE, the theory of everything. One single uh, theory which can explain all the laws, everything. And they are still working, the scientists are still working on it. The same thing, the same reverberation or the same echo we get in the Upanishads thousands of years ago. It's very interesting. It has been beautifully said in the Upanishads. It has been beautifully asked by a disciple to the Guru, "O Guru, what is that, knowing whom we can come to know everything else?" The goal of human life is self-realization, to know who I am. There are two basic things, in our life or in the spirituality. What spirituality goes for? The first thing is, of course, liberation. What we say as moksha, liberation or salvation, which means when I realize what has been said in the scriptures, what has been said in Vedanta, that I am verily the Atman or Brahman, which is ever pure, ever divine, ever free, birthless and deathless. This is one thing. So salvation. And to know myself. Know means not uh, by just reading the scriptures or by reading the books, It is actually realizing. It is actually by realizing my identity with Brahman as one and indivisible. That is how I come to realize. So, that is the first thing, liberation or salvation. Now, the second thing which Vedanta says or which we search is oneness, unity. We search for oneness in our life. We search for unity in our life. And mostly all these two things are done unknowingly. We search for oneness in our life. Even in science, we know that in modern science or for the past many years, science has been searching a single theory which can explain everything, which is also known as the theory of everything, the TOE, the theory of everything. One single uh, theory which can explain all the laws, everything. And they are still working, the scientists are still working on it. The same thing, the same reverberation or the same echo we get in the Upanishads thousands of years ago. It's very interesting. It has been beautifully said in the Upanishads. And the Upanishads, they're so beautiful. They are a, it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue, it's a conversation. It's a beautiful conversation with the disciple and the guru. The disciple asks the guru with reverence, with faith, and with love. He asks the questions or his doubts to the gurus, and the guru go on clearing the doubts and helping the disciple come to a point when or where he can realize his self. In one of the Upanishads, it has been beautifully asked by a disciple to the Guru that, O Guru, what is that knowing whom we can come to know everything else? It is such a beautiful question. What is that knowing whom we can come to know everything else? So, here in this question, we see the query or the inquisitiveness for oneness, finding one single thing which can explain or which can be the solution for everything. And the Guru then goes on to explain the nature of Brahman. And he says that knowing this, you can know everything else. Once you know Brahman as yourself, as one with your identity, you identify Brahman as yourself, one and indivisible, you come to know everything else of this universe. So, Vedanta speaks of this unity, this wonderful unity, this wonderful oneness of the individual self with the Supreme Self, of the individual consciousness with the Supreme or the cosmic consciousness. It says that in reality we are, and whatever we see, all the differences, whatever we see, are but apparent things. They are not real. Like as in science nowadays, they are telling that the world, the way we see the world is not correct. It is not the reality. And that can be, very logically said. That can be said with, means you don't have to think much about that. Because, for example, to me, this world is something. It seems something. To another person who has one sense organ less, this world will seem entirely different, isn't it? For example, a person who is blind, his world and the world of a person whose all the sense organs are okay, they will be entirely different. So, if there is one sense organ less in someone, he will view the same world in an entirely different way than one who has got one sense organ less. And again, in the same way, a person who has one sense organ more, if suppose we think that there is a person who has got six sense organs, he will be viewing this world in an entirely different way than we do. So, this world that we see is not the reality. It is not the reality. What is the reality? The reality is that it is of the nature of existence absolute, knowledge absolute, and bliss absolute. What has been said in Vedanta as Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. It is of the nature of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means existence absolute. Chit means consciousness absolute. And Ananda means bliss absolute. So Vedanta introduces us with this nature of ours, that in our real nature, I am not Swami Sankarananda, I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this intellect, I am not this ego. In my real nature, I am of the nature of existence knowledge, and bliss absolute. And in that nature, we are all one and indivisible. Because I said that Vedanta speaks of oneness. So if I am of the nature of existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute, everything else, actually, there is nothing as everything else when there is one. But in order to express it in words, we have to say it in this way, that everything else, if I am of the nature of, when I am of the nature of existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute, everything is of the nature of existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute.